Yeah, so for just the second time in 13 league meetings with Liverpool, Manchester United coming out on top. All the reaction to come. We'll go to Old Trafford shortly as well. But what was the difference with United tonight for you, Paul?
I think for the first time in a long time, we've seen a team with real aggression. Young players wanting to get to the ball, being aggressive, as I said, tackling people. We haven't seen that for quite some time. OK, they didn't have a lot of possession of the ball, but they're probably better without possession. They were better getting against players and then having the space to break off it, because as we know with Liverpool, Trent and Robertson, they leave a lot of space in behind. And with Marcus and Elanga, who they played today, young player again, so much energy right throughout, especially the forward parts of the pitch. I thought they was as good as they have been. I still think there'll be bigger challenges ahead when they come to the games where they've got to be in possession, as I said before. Can they be good enough to exploit teams when they're not playing on the counter-attack? But I thought the tactics were right tonight. We said before the game as well, we cannot see Man United trying to play out from the back. Them little goal kicks where the keeper's passing it 10 yards to Varane or 10 yards to Martinez, they're not good enough for that. And David, as good as goalkeeper he is, I don't think he's great at that type of football. You saw tonight, he didn't have to do that, and I thought he was so composed and relaxed and looks a much better keeper.
On the other side of the story, what was wrong with Liverpool, Macca?
Wow, how long we got? They started the game really slowly. They were very passive, and that's unlike Liverpool. They allowed Manchester United to bully them early on. They allowed Manchester United a number of opportunities to score before they scored. And that's when someone has to be a leader in Liverpool's team and say, right, we're too open, there's something going wrong, let's just be collective for 10 minutes and work our ways into the game. But Manchester United played the perfect game today. They abandoned a lot of the stuff that was wrong against Brighton and Brentford, as Scholes he's already said. They played into the spaces. They almost went back to basics and won the game that they needed to win. It wasn't about being pretty or being magnificent or scoring these fantastic goals. It was about winning when you play Liverpool or Manchester United. That's all that matters. You can play better against other teams further down the line, and you can learn the philosophy that Ten Hag wants to play further down the line. It was about winning today, and Manchester United need to bask in this bit of glory until a difficult game against Southampton at the weekend, because everybody got stuck into them when Liverpool won last year, and Liverpool were expected to win today. That's what the neutral thought, and they were turned over by Manchester United.
Let's talk to one of Paul's former teammates. Peter Schmeichel was watching all night at Old Trafford. Good to see you, Peter. And how impressed were you with your former club tonight?
Yeah, good to see you too, Steve, and Paul and Steve. It was really one of those nights at Old Trafford. We haven't experienced many of them in recent years, and it reminded me a bit of when we played here, Paul, the European nights. That atmosphere, that was a big demonstration before the game outside, and that that atmosphere was brought into the stadium, and it was there right from the beginning, and it helped the players. You could see how they responded to that. They were aggressive. They were chasing lost causes, something that we haven't seen for, I don't know, I'm not talking about months here, but years. And it was really, really good to watch it. And whenever they did that, whenever they were chasing the ball, the crowd just got louder and louder and louder. And that is something that, at least that's something I'm going to take away from this night as one of the biggest experiences.
Pete, Scholes, are you okay, mate?
Yeah, good. And you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Big smile, eh?
Big smile, yeah, makes a change, eh?
It does make a change.
We've got Macaroni next to me, it's brilliant, this. It's brilliant.
I never moan, Pete, you know that.
I want to go on all night, eh? I want to go on all night. Now, you're just talking about the atmosphere in the ground there. I know it's difficult for us to pick up, but it felt like it was loud, and sometimes it just takes that one tackle to really get that crowd going. And I thought that happened tonight. I was a little bit worried about the back four tonight, to be honest with you, Peter, but I think that left-hand side especially, Martinez and Malacio, I was a little bit worried about that with the inexperience, but I thought they were magnificent, all four of them, and the goalkeeper. I won't leave the keeper out for you, Peter.
Yeah, no, they were excellent. I think we both share that feeling over the last couple of years that it's been vulnerable at the back. Anything could happen. Yeah. And we saw in the first game here against Brighton how that right defending, the right full-back and that right centre half didn't work together. Brighton were just hurting us down the left-hand side. Today, that was not the case. And if you think about it, Salah, who is an absolutely fantastic player, he didn't really have anything until he got that chance where he scored. And he was kept so quiet by those two. I thought they were excellent. But I also thought Varane in the first half, I mean, he was just so solid. And it was something that, transmitted onto the crowd. It was like the crowd was giving the players something, and the players were giving them something in return. And then they gave something to kind of build up. And the atmosphere, it's the best atmosphere that I've experienced at Old Trafford for years. And hopefully, this is something the players are going to take back home for their preparations for the next coming games. That if you do that, that is the response you get from the theatre of dreams. And that's what it was tonight.
I was just about to say, Peter, how important is it they build on this now? We know how much United needed the result and the performance and the atmosphere, as you say, tonight. But can this really push them on now under Erik ten Hag?
Yeah, Steve just said there, the next game is Southampton, 12:30 kickoff on Saturday morning. 12:30 has never been a Man United favourite kickoff, so that is a big test in itself. But also Southampton away has always been a difficult fixture for Manchester United. And of course, Southampton, they've just come off a win against Leicester, a really, really big win. So that is another big test. But I have to say that we can talk about these games coming up individually as big tests, but they're all big tests. We're in a transition period as Manchester United have been for nearly 10 years, but this is the one time that we have to get it right. We've brought in a manager who has a certain way of playing, and he did try that against Brentford. The players weren't really ready for that, so he's changed it. I like that. I really, honestly, for me, I gained a lot of respect for him today, that he was big enough to go a little bit away from what he stands for, what he's been brought in to do for this football team, understanding that they're not ready to play that game. Every goal kick was kicked up the pitch, for instance. We've not done that for years. We tried to play our way out, and there was no point in doing that. He understood that and changed it. That was brilliant. But I think every game that comes up now, the players need to do exactly what they did today, and that was working hard. As Scholes has said before, win the tackles, chasing lost cause, all of these things, and then not think too much about playing beautiful football. That will come in time. I'm absolutely sure about that.
Tremendous stuff, Peter. And do you know what? We'd forgotten what it was like to see Scholesy smile. It'd been that long.
I'm so happy I could help you.
Great to see you, top man. OK, Peter Schmeichel talking there about this credit for Erik ten Hag. High time we got the views of the Manchester United manager.
Win in a new job was always going to be special. To get it against this opponent under the circumstances tonight, how does that feel?
The first win, of course, brings a lot of joy. It's clear. We had a difficult start, and I'm really happy, especially for the fans, that we bring them this victory. And of course, for them, it's really important to bring that victory over Liverpool. That's clear.
How was your first? I know you've had experience of huge games. How was your first experience of Manchester United against Liverpool?
I enjoyed it from the first minute on. It was such a big fight, and I really enjoyed it from both teams. I think they make a huge performance. It was a great night for all the football fans, but of course, especially for the Manchester United football fans.
It was a very different Manchester United that we saw tonight from the first two games of the season. How did you achieve that?
We had a quite good pre-season, and we played on a good level, but then we had some setbacks, and it was not easy to deal with that, but sometimes you have that in the season, but also when you start in the process, you have to find out the characters, the behavior of individuals and of a team, and I was definitely not satisfied with that. I was in pre-season, but especially in Brentford game, I wasn't. And I told them, and today you saw the reaction, and that is the attitude. I don't think they can bring it always that far as today, but what you can expect is always energy, always focus, always fighting spirit, act as a team, and that is a demand, and that is a base for winning games.
You needed the intensity, you needed the spirit, but you also needed the quality in front of goal, and you got it from Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford. How important for those players and for you that they were able to rediscover that scoring touch?
It's really important because in their mindset there's some things I cannot do all the defending work and then also be a threat in offense, but you saw today they can do. And I'm sure it has to be a way of life. They will get even stronger. And when we press in this way, it's really difficult for opponents to get out, to play their football. And then when you win ball, you can run behind and you can dribble behind and you can make combinations. And I think football makes fun for them. And that is what I really saw with the two of them. And when they get reward by a goal, and that is for them is that really magnificent and great.
And what do you need to do now to make sure that you get the same level of performance from your team at the weekend against Southampton and going forward, and that there's no regression to what we saw against Brighton and Brentford?
I start with the mindset that they understand that this attitude, that is what they have to bring, and it starts in the preparation. Of course, we have to enjoy the first 24 hours, but then go with your focus to the next game, because every game is a battle, and there are no easy wins in the Premier League, and that is what this team has to understand. Therefore, we need leadership, and we bring that. We have really good footballers. If they construct that team, then the team performance will be good, and then we have a chance to win a lot of games.
Erik, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on the win tonight.
Please.
You certainly hear what it means to the Manchester United manager to get his first win, and in that manner. They got the lead, of course, after 16 minutes. We talked about the importance of the start, getting the first goal, and it was some finish as well from Jadon.
I love this goal. As Maka said, if some Brazilian player or a Spanish player had done this, would have been eulogising over it, but it was great composure. And this is what we expect. He's bought for a lot of money, this kid, and He's took him a little bit of time to settle in, but look at the composure there, putting Milner down. Also, in the same movement, he actually puts the keeper down. I remember a player called Romario doing similar things years ago for Barcelona. It's a brilliant goal. I'm so pleased for the lads as well, because I'm pleased for all of them tonight, because they've had so much stick, including the manager. He's coming at a really difficult time, and he's almost like he's been hung out to dry a little bit for them first two games. It must be a lonely place for him. So to come, get a great win as he has done, it's brilliant. You've got to give him credit. He's changed the tactic as well. He's come with his philosophy of playing out from the back. Manchester United, if you look down the years, they've never been that type of team. They've never put a two centre-half 10 yards away from the goal kick and tried to play out. They've never done that. They've always been a direct, not just massively booting the ball forward. I mean, they have a plan, but they've always played in the opposition half, being aggressive, getting against people. And I hope that's the catalyst now for what comes along, and not just against these great teams. Because against Liverpool, your Southamptons, all these teams are a lot better now. And United, I don't think they have them types of players to play like Barcelona did, to play like Manchester City do. I just don't think they have that quality, Steve.
Yeah, and Liverpool fans will be aghast how he defended tonight. Virgil van Dijk not coming out for the goal. You see him here, he's got this tendency to always run back away from the player who's attacking and not have to make a challenge. And he was, the first goal with Trent and Virgil, and it was just, that was just the goal. Before that, you could highlight a number of other occasions where they got in, and of course, Alanga's chance and Alanga attacking down the left wing. Liverpool started slow, and against Manchester United games, with the atmosphere, you should never, ever, ever start slow, because the atmosphere doesn't allow you to start slow, because it is so intense, and it means so much to the fans that this is not a normal game. This is a special, special game. You cannot start slow and give the opposition a present. And that's what Liverpool did tonight. And there's something they have to address, because otherwise they're in trouble going forward.
Marcus Rashford had gone nearly 1,000 minutes without a goal. You said before the game, I hope he steps up. And you saw before his goal the problems he was causing with that running behind.
Right from the very first 2 or 3 minutes, he was a real threat in behind. He's doing what he does best. And do you know what? He's been out on the left-hand side a lot the last couple of years, Marcus. And he's actually brought up as a centre-forward. So he knows the movement, he knows the dangerous areas to get into, and this was as big a threat as he has been. Look, he probably could have scored a couple of goals against Brighton, missed a couple of really good chances, and confidence looked really low, but in this game especially, when he's running down the east side there, look at him go. How do you stay with that? How do you cope with that? There's so much pace. But his confidence has been absolutely shot to pieces. But tonight, he was great. He was a real threat for Liverpool. They wouldn't have enjoyed playing against that, running into them wide areas at the full-backs vacating. Look, we hope that's a big night for him and he can really kick on. This is what he was doing 2 years ago. Exactly what he's doing. Maybe he's got a coach now who believes in the way he plays and giving him confidence. And look, if this lad gets in them sort of areas, he will score a lot of goals for us.
He's got a history with Trent Alexander-Arnold, who couldn't handle him at times in that first half.
No, nobody could handle any of the Manchester United forwards. Sancho for the goal. Marcus Rashford, about 4 or 5 opportunities we saw then, and a few of them were before the goal. That's what I said about warning signs. Alanga, certainly in the first half down the left-hand side, caused all kinds of problems. Missed a good chance. As I said, he went past Trent and inside Joe Gomez in the same movement and got a foul just on the edge of the box. There was too many of those opportunities, and Liverpool couldn't cope, yet they couldn't change either. You know, not once did they say, Marcus Rashford's getting in 3 or 4 times, let's just drop 5 yards just to give ourselves a bit of... They still continued to play the same way until they got caught out. And then it was like, oh, now we have to change. And you're thinking to yourself, well, you know, once you've been cut open 3 or 4 times, that means something is fundamentally wrong. Whether that's because Joe Gomez has come in or whether it's because Trent is too far forward and they're playing into those gaps, something is wrong and you have to address it there and then on the pitch. Because every game is not the same. It's not the same. When you're away from home, it's different to when you're at home because the crowd make that noise and give the home side that lift. So you have to change the way you are. And they didn't today. They just carried on playing exactly the same way all the time until it was too late.
Amongst those watching on tonight was Casemiro inside the stadium. He was unveiled prior to the game. They've got the 5 times Champions League winner signed and sealed from Real Madrid, 30 years of age. Fan of this signing?
I am, yes, a little money-wise. I think it's a little bit too much, but that isn't our concern. That's not the fans' concern. We have got a very good player, very experienced player, very organised player, and he will make the players around him better. Unbelievable experience, as I said. Played with some fantastic players in Real Madrid, a fantastic Real Madrid team, and now he's come into a team. You've got to give him credit because it's a real challenge. OK, I know he's getting a lot of money for it, but this is a real challenge coming from a Champions League winning team to a La Liga winning team, coming to a team who, at the start of the season, well, before tonight, you think of a team who finished 6th. You look at that tonight, you're thinking, well, maybe they could squeak into a top 4, I don't know, but look, it's a big job for him, but he's that experience and that character that I think this club needs.
Certainly not. Now, as I explained last Monday, on every Monday game day on The Final Word, it will be myself and Michael Owen. Where is he? I can hear you asking. The answer to the question, he's watched the game in Indonesia with our friends over there. So let's see what he thought of Liverpool's performance tonight, Michael.
You can't get rid of me that easily, gentlemen. No, it was a very good game for the neutral, I'd say. A lot of passion for the game out here in Indonesia, as you can imagine. But I thought Manchester United were excellent in terms of their pressing. I've been listening to Scholes, and I agree wholeheartedly with him. Just that, that extra bit of, just running, just heart and soul and putting that into it. And it just begs the question, doesn't it? Where's that been for so long? Because you know that Manchester United players have got it. You just need to see it more often, and they've set the bar for themselves today.
On the other side of the coin, what of Liverpool and their levels?
Well, exactly, and it's very rare that you would question their energy levels, their heart, their desire. But tonight, you'd have to say they got outrun. They got outplayed in many occasions. Yes, they had a lot of the ball, but I always felt that it was Manchester United that looked the most dangerous. It's been a continuation, really. The end of the season was disappointing for Liverpool, of course. Missing out on the title, losing the Champions League final, then a couple of dodgy results as well over the pre-season, and then they've started the season in a bad way as well. 3 games, and it must feel like 3 defeats. OK, they've got 2 points, but a draw nowadays for Liverpool must feel like a defeat. We're talking tiny margins at the end of the season. So it's very disappointing. Added to that, suspensions to key players, lots of injuries. I think they'll be quite thankful, with all due respect to Bournemouth, that they've got a home game at the weekend and a winnable one at that.
And finally, the goal they scored tonight was a consolation in terms of the game. But for Mo Salah, and you and I have spoken to him, you know what he's like with his numbers and his targets. He's gone too clear of you. Level with Steven Gerrard. Only Robbie Fowler now ahead of him in Premier League goals for Liverpool.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me, Steve. That's one of the disappointments about tonight. But no, he's a goal-scoring machine. He had obviously a great time against Manchester United last season in both games. He had a quiet game tonight, Mo Salah, but you can never take your eye off him for one moment. He popped up, obviously got that goal, and I thought was going to set up a real grandstand finish, but it wasn't to be. I thought Manchester United played out the last 5 or 10 minutes quite well, actually. They didn't just sit back. They still pressed. They still tried to waste a little bit of time when they could. But no, Mo Salah, phenomenal player, phenomenal goal scorer, and it's another record ticked off tonight.
It certainly is. Safe journey back to us. He would have been disappointed if I hadn't put his name on the graphic.
I know, we need to see him.
We need to see how far
We need to see his
behind he
name
is.
all times.
The international traveller. Oh dear. Right, Michael will be back with me on the next Monday night game.